All right, we're in. Let's go. After chat, Lanterne Rouge is here. Let me close this door so there's no feedback. Okay, so everyone needs to go to your relevant highlights, whatever highlights package you can get. I got NBC World Championships. And we're going to watch it through. So have that up while I'm speaking. And I'm going to start at the beginning. Well, not start at the beginning. I'm going to start at the end and talk about the finale because that's what everyone wants to hear about. And then I'll get into some other stuff as well. Just went for a ride. Excuse my appearance. Just got out of the shower. Cycling fanatics. All right. So the finale. Let's talk about that first. Has everyone... I got the NBC 20-minute highlights on. So after MVDP gets dropped, with about 3Ks or 10Ks to go, Italy used, from my perspective, Trentin and Moscon 50-50 pulling turns. What do people think about Italy using, or those two using Moscon and Trentin 50-50 each? I think Trentin was pretty cooked, and you can probably tell I tried to find his Strava. He doesn't have a Strava up at the race, so unfortunately neither Kung, Pedersen, or Trentin have Strava up where their power data is available. But Kung definitely couldn't sprint that well. And people are telling me to link this to the homepage. Okay, how can I do that? What's the connection like for people? Can people hear me all right? Anyway, so Italy used them 50-50. Moscon was pretty cooked, although he looked cooked and then he came back pretty well. So when MVDP came up and Moscon was bridging to that group, he looked really cooked. He sat on for a bit, and then he actually managed to stick with that group for ages. That group meaning Pedersen, Kung, and Trentin. So he stuck with them for ages, which I was surprised by. And he only finished about 12 seconds behind them, although there was cat and mouse between them in the last kilometre. So I think they should have... This is what they should have done. Maybe this... I think... Can people confirm whether they had race radios? I don't think they did have race radios, so my comments are going to be based on the fact that they didn't have race radios, which I think really, really changed the outcome of the race. Okay, they didn't. So no race radios. So that if they had a race radio, if they had one, I think they realize how far ahead of the peloton they are. I think at 10Ks to go, let me look at this gap. 10Ks or 11Ks to go when MVDP got dropped, they had a minute on the peloton, maybe more. So no radio, they don't know that really. And if anyone the gap was thick, Billy Wallace, but for everyone watching live, and anyone that was watching my live stream, my impromptu live stream, none of us were trusting those time gaps. The time gaps were really like, it would go out to 35 seconds, 40 seconds, then back to 11 seconds. And you'd have to like look on the road and actually assess on the road, like using your eyes, what the time gap was. So without the race radio, without their team card telling them, hey, you got 5Ks to go, you got 1 minute, 10 seconds on the peloton. Moscon, Trentin, one of you stop. Trentin, stop. Yeah, the motorbike, I don't think was telling them the time gap either. One of them needed to stop Trentin and conserve your energy. But the thing is, no. So Branimir, I didn't see the motorbike giving them times on the board. So I thought, yeah, I think they didn't know how big the gap was, and that's why Moscon and Trentin were working too much. Moscon did take longer turns for sure, but Trentin wasn't sitting on either. So I think that's why when Trentin was kind of cooked, and everyone thought, not a formality, but everyone thought between Kung and Pedersen, both of whom had bridged earlier at like 45, 50 kilometers out, that he was going to tower them up in the sprint. So, yeah, I think the lack of race radio really changed the finale, changed Italy's tactics. Comment whether you think that was a good thing. Do you think not having race radios made the race more interesting? I actually think it did. So I'm usually like not a fan of people who are saying, ban power meters, ban race radios, but I actually think it did make it more interesting, to be honest. So, yeah. Do you think if Trenton stopped pulling at 5 kilometers, that Kung and Pedersen would have just stopped working at all, and then they would have been caught by like the Pedersen? I don't know. Yeah. Strava uploaded, but there's no power. It's estimated power, so I can't tell. I can't tell exactly what power he's doing. Big power. He's a big guy. So that's my take on that. Now let's skip forward to let's go to Sagan. I'm at 3.6 k's to go. Sagan attacks out of the peloton. The gap to the leaders was 1 minute 07. So everyone was kind of, I think, if we're really honest, we're kind of disappointed that Sagan attacked that late. The thing is, he closed maybe 20 seconds on that group. I think he came in 48 seconds behind them, but maybe there was some cat and mouse in the last kilometer. He was going full gas, so maybe he wasn't gaining that much time. It looked like he had good legs, so it looked like Sagan looked like he wasn't in too much difficulty, so it looked like he went way too late. But I don't know what your thoughts are, why he did that. It must have been a reason. Like, it's not like he doesn't want to win. So why did Sagan only go at 3.7 k's to go? Is that because he didn't know the time gap? Maybe he thought, okay, my best chance to win is if these guys up front are only 30 seconds ahead, 30 seconds rather than, the minute and 7 seconds they were. And if they start playing cat and mouse in the last K, I can come around and probably win. Sagan's major mistake, as Dante in TX says in the comments, is that he didn't follow MVDP's wheel early. If he'd followed Van der Poel's wheel early, I think Sagan wins pretty comfortably, to be honest. Although, again, it changes. You can't. It's a counterfactual, because if Sagan gets into that group with Trentin and Moscon and MVDP, then do Italy work so hard? Do they get brought back? Then the other riders don't want to work because they got Sagan and Mathieu van der Poel in the group. So it's really, that's a hypothetical. But yeah, as people are saying, it's a big mistake. It was a big mistake from Sagan not to go with Van der Poel that early. So that's 3.6 k's to go. I think, I don't know, maybe Sagan needed someone else to help him bridge across from 6 k's to go. But again, now let's fast forward. I'm at, in the last right-hand bend. So going into the last right-hand bend, we're going to, in detail, talk about the finale. We've got Pedersen first wheel, Trentin second wheel, and Stefan Kung third wheel. Let's be honest. And yeah, I agree, Joe Hattersley. Sagan just wanted the camera time out front for the sponsors, for the Specialized, and maybe get a bronze medal if someone dropped out the back. I think... Okay, so Pedersen, Trentin, Kung. I think based on, this is pure speculation, but I think based on Pedersen going through first wheel, the way he marked, the way he approached that sprint, and as Sander de Rode has said in the chat, the way Pedersen was pulling his turns, I think Pedersen knew that Trentin was pretty tired, and I think Pedersen, I'm trying to get into his mind here, but I think Pedersen knew he had a pretty good shot in the sprint. Otherwise, I don't think he was concerned about Kung at all. Kung's a time trialist, big guy. He was super tired. I think, Trentin probably wasn't doing too much in the last 5Ks. Pedersen might have noticed that. So, Pedersen goes through first wheel into the sprint in front of Trentin up that last rise with 500 meters to go. Kung's on the back. Kung, let's be honest, Kung pretty much he was just going for a medal, right? Like, do we really? Maybe he's just so gassed. And how can your brain think properly after 260 kilometers, 7 hours in the rain and minus whatever degrees? Kung was, I think he was just happy to get a bronze medal. That's a big result for this guy. He won Tour de Doubs. So that catastrophic carbon fork failure I put up, the guy that won that race in the last month was Stefan Kung, which is kind of funny. And then he actually did well in a TT after that. But I think bronze medal at World Championships road race, very, very big result for Stefan Kung. So then I think Pedersen knows that, and Pedersen's basically just going to mark Trenton. That's all he's worried about. And as I'm playing it now, he's going up that rise. He's looking back and he's just watching Trenton. And typically, I'm planning on making a Paris-Roubaix video. I'm making a Paris-Roubaix video where I analyze what's the best way. If you're not the best sprinter in a group, what's the best way to, and you got a sprinter behind you in a 2-up sprint, what's the best way to set up for the sprint? We're thinking Sagan and Sylvain Dillier, Gilbert and Niels Pollitt, if I'm right, and Tom Bonen and Matthew Heyman. So those 3 case studies. So this is similar. This is Mads Pedersen in front of Matteo Trentin. It's an uphill sprint though. It's not a sprint like in the Velodrome in Paris-Roubaix. So Pedersen goes through first wheel, probably not where you actually want to be, ideally. He's first wheel, but then, as I said, does he know that he actually has better legs than Trentin? But I think the difference between what Pedersen did. So if you watch Niels Pollitt and you watch some of the sprints where Sylvain Dillier, Velodrome's different, but you don't want to be the guy that goes first. And I think I think what is really underrated is, what do people say? What's really underrated for what Pedersen did was, if we're just playing it now, I think I'm at about 400 meters left. He waited at 200 meters left, and I was watching this in bed, 1 a.m. I couldn't believe it. Pedersen waited for Trentin to come around him, and most guys especially would, this is 7 hours in. This is world champs, jersey on the line, road race, once in a lifetime opportunity for him, and most people open it up first. And remember Sam Bennett in the Vuelta, uphill finish. Sam Bennett in the Vuelta, he's got Philippe Gilbert on his wheel. Sam Bennett opened it up from, what was it, 500 meters out, and Gilbert said, "Thanks very much," and came around him. Something similar is that, I'm watching now. I obviously can't show you the footage, but watching now, and Pedersen just looking at Trentin over his left shoulder. Obviously, Pedersen went to the right-hand barrier, so he only had to look over one shoulder. And he let Trentin come up to his left. As I just pause it, he let Trentin come up to his left hip and just was super patient. He almost looked like this was at 300, went out 250. He looked like he was happy for Trentin to come around him. So, and Trentin opens it up at 210 meters, and Pedersen just looking at him, lets him go. So I think, based on the legs, based on the bike lengths that Pedersen won by, because Pedersen didn't even get into his draft, I don't think, this is probably all academic, but I don't think it really mattered where Pedersen was. He was clearly the strongest guy. And there was a comment on my video, on the link to one of the questions was saying that Pedersen, he trains in Denmark the whole year. He trains in Denmark the whole year in the cold. He's a little bit bigger guy. So, fantastic win for Pedersen. I've been ignoring these comments now. Let me get to the comments. But Peter Hammer, he didn't lead it out. He waited for Trentin to lead it out, and then he just snapped over next to him. Did Trentin underestimate the competition? No, I think Trentin thought, well, let me give myself an opportunity. I think I should have the best sprint. Let me give myself 200 meters to actually prove that. But he obviously didn't have the legs, so that's the way it was. Hold on. All right. Any other comments? What other comments were there? Okay, so let's talk MVDP. This is the probably the other big thing that came out of the race. MVDP. He said he didn't hunger flat. Comment. I need some comments back on this. I straight up don't believe him. I think he did hunger flat. I'm pretty sure, and it's like it's not his fault. Like he's 25 years old. Like of course he's only a 4-1 favorite. You know, it's given the weather conditions, it's not it's not a formality that he's going to win the race. Although people who were watching my live stream when MVDP got in that break, everyone was thinking this is over. This is all over. But anyway, can people confirm whether I think this is the case in cold conditions? Do you use more calories? And it's probably the race is longer because it's slower. But I think I'm 100% of the belief that it was a bonk. I'm not sure if that's the terminology in Europe for you guys, non-Anglo speaking countries, but I 100% think he didn't have enough fuel. I think I don't know. Maybe they did change the fueling strategy, but the way he went, because he was going, he hasn't put his Strava up, he rarely does, but the way he was going 500 watts up those rises, and then, which was a mistake. But again, I think that's the race radios playing into that as well, but and maybe a bit of inexperience, but 500 watts up those rises, and then 10 kilometers, literally, he couldn't do 100 watts. So it wasn't, I think the whopped off like that suggests to me that his glycogen stores completely ran out. Amstel Gold Race, how long was Amstel Gold Race? Was it that long in terms of time, not kilometers? So I don't think he didn't have the legs because he's never raced that long before, because he raced CX, because he won Amstel Gold, and so I think it was 100% fueling, in my opinion. But you never know. I don't have knowledge of his fueling, his what those guys did or what his team did for fueling. Let me look at some comments. Okay, how about fuck Gianni Moscon? That guy's a reckless racist asshole. No, I don't mean free Moscon. I'd like actually free him. But I like to get other. Everyone's saying fuck Gianni Moscon. I like to get on board with villains, and now that Mikel Landa, he's freed, and Nairo Quintana's freed. I don't mean free Gianni Moscon like he should have won. I sort of mean, I think had there been race radio him on a faux attack or a full gas attack for him, but they would have sacrificed him up the road and made one of Pedersen or Stefan Kung different. Sorry, maybe that would have made no difference. Pedersen was mad, like so strong, but that's what I'm all meant by free Moscon. Okay, let's talk about Philippe Gilbert and Remco. That's what I haven't spoken about. Comment. We've only got 10 more minutes before I got to go to work, so I need to see Remco and Gilbert. So this was Gilbert crashed, and again, no race radio. Do I think Remco is pissed off? No, I don't think Remco was doing too much himself anyway in this race. Like, I don't think, you got to remember, Remco's like 62 kilos, 60 kilo guy. I don't have the top 10 finishes in front of me or the top 20 finishes in front of me, but from my mind, they're all over 70 kilo guys, right? They're all big guys. Pedersen, big guy. Trenton Kung, massive guy. Sagan, Valgren. Alaphilippe, probably one of the smaller guys. So, but he's got more experience than Remco. So I don't think Remco was doing too much anyway. I don't even think. But I think with the race radio, maybe Gilbert would have been able to say in advance, don't drop back, Remco, like you. But they didn't have race radio. He dropped back. I mean, they put up loads of Instagram stories, cuddle, kissy, kissy sort of stuff. Don't care. I think he knows that he probably wasn't going to be able to do too much. Yeah, I agree, Boomshine. I think Remco was just disappointed he wasn't strong enough. Philippe Gilbert was saying that he had really strong legs. I think Gilbert thinks he could have won, but I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? I think Pedersen was pretty crazy strong. Let me look at some of these more questions. Will Froome win the Tour? No, Chris Froome is done. It's all over for Chris Froome. Brazil, here in Italy when Pedersen overpassed. Yeah, okay, so PC on YouTube, you're in Italy. Can you, like, what was the feeling in Italy when Trentin was in that break in the last 5 kilometers with Pedersen and Kung? Did you guys think that it was all over? Thoughts on crashes? I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there were too many crashes. I don't think there was Gilbert, obviously. Albacini crashed on that tight left-hand hairpin corner. But I don't think there were too many crashes. Will Pedersen be able to show his rainbow jersey enough next year? Well, I think so. It's a pretty crazy win, and I think you're going to look at early season races like Omloop het Nieuwsblad, Gent Velgem. So those are the early season classics in Belgium, I believe, Belgium and Holland region. So those are windy. So that Geraint Thomas crosswind chaos video, that's the sort of race that Mads Pedersen is going to be good at. So, I reckon he could win a classic next year. I mean, he came second in the Ronda. So he's a young guy. What is he, 23, 24? Everyone's kind of sleeping on him. I mean, who actually was saying that Mads Pedersen was actually going to win this race? Nobody. So talk a little bit about what else happened in this race. I don't know. What do you think about the footage dropping out? So I did an impromptu live stream, sort of spur of the moment because people commented to do it. The footage dropped out. There was no overhead helicopter footage. There was no motorbike footage. We're just using stationary camera footage. I don't know. Not great for the World Championships race. It's pretty crazy that with like 80 kilometers to go, you can't really see what's happening. I agree Belgium didn't have a good race. What do people think about Belgium's strategy and performance? I think the minute MVDP got in that break, and I was saying this, I was going crazy at the time, and maybe they just didn't have the legs, but they had a lot of guys. So when Gilbert had crashed, they still had a lot of guys left in that group. They had Tim Wellens, Dylan Turns, Yves Lampert, and maybe one other, correct me if I'm wrong, Greg Van Avermaet. They still had him in that group. So when MVDP went, they just put Tim Wellens on the front, and maybe the other guys didn't have the legs. Maybe that was that. But Oliver Nyssen as well. So five guys. And they just put Tim Wellens on the front, and it didn't rotate, and the gap just went, you can't see, the gap just expanded. So I think they should have rolled more turns. It should have been a 5-man up team time trial. I think Greg Van Avermaet should have contributed more earlier for that group, for that chase, and that was why that gap got out. So I don't think Belgium worked too well together. All right, let's talk Rowan Dennis. Rowan Dennis is the most troll person ever. So I need the comments. Tonight, you got 2 options for a video. You got first option this is the first option for the video. Why Bahrain Merida terminated, all caps, Rowan Dennis contract, ? Second video idea is my apology to the UCI jury - Niels Eckhoff disqualification. But I kind of think there's a bit of fatigue with the Niels Eckhoff disqualification now. So I need your comments will tell me which video of those 2 videos to do. I'm kind of leaning towards the Rowan Dennis one, but keen to hear what people want to actually see. So Denmark, Jakob Fuglsang, he would have done well too. Valgren did well. People want both. You can't have both. I got work in 5 minutes. Rowan Dennis, both. You guys are. I'm from Australia. All right, we've got 5 more minutes. So we've got 5 more minutes. So I need some comments. Last few comments now. Call in sick. Well, if I call in sick and then people see that, and people can see that I put up a live stream at 8 a.m. where I look pretty perky. Dennis. Dennis. Okay, I reckon Dennis. I got the Dennis one's interesting because I'm gonna I can actually go through the real story of what's happened from a legal perspective and why they terminate. I can show you what the reason or the rationale for them terminating his contract under. So I can go through that and actually explain why they did it and explain why he was allowed to ride with the BMC. He rode. He's the most troll dude. He rode. Did everyone see this in the race with a BMC head? And you can see he was on the front for Australia in the first hour with a BMC logo on the front head tube. Most troll guy. Will I share briefly my new thoughts on the under 23 thing if you do the Dennis video? No, because I've already shared my thoughts briefly on the under 23 thing, and I need to do my plan for that video idea is to do a mock. If it goes to an arbitration, I'll do a mock video or mock trial or hearing about how the Court of Arbitration for Sport would actually review that decision and the process they would go through to review that decision. So not this like, oh, I feel this way and there's this unwritten rule about this way. I want to actually show people, because I've done international arbitrations, construction disputes, though, that have done international arbitrations and studied international law for like 8 months in Bocconi in Italy. I'll show you actually how they review it and kind of why there's no real right answer and why it's actually going to be really difficult for Airclub to appeal that. I think there's very little chance he'll be able to. Yeah, if I do the under 23, I've been talking to Willie Smith. I'm not sure if you guys follow Willie Smith. I'm talking to him a little bit on Instagram, maybe trying to set up a video with him. He sort of echoed my thoughts from a pro perspective and sort of agreed with me, but from a completely different angle. Talk about Ben Swift. What the fuck is there to talk about Ben Swift? Ben Swift who? No offense to you UK guys, but sorry. I mean, some people were saying Ben Swift potentially top 5 rider. I don't think so. Do you guys think? Okay, last 2 minutes. Final wrap up. Do I think Stefan Kung pulled too hard in the last 5 kilometers? No. You got to be on. Like look at what happened to MVDP. So look at what happened in that race. If you're right at the limit, if you don't have any food left, and Kung was worried. Did everyone see when he asked Trentin for that gel? I still don't. I think that's one of the craziest things that's gone really under the radar. Did Trentin have a gel stuck on his top tube, and he wasn't using it? And Kung pointed at the top tube and said, "Brother, give me the caffeine, give me that sugar." And was it Turnison? You're right, Senator Rudd. It was Turnison. My bad. So that was earlier on, and Turnison gave him the gel, and then got dropped off the wheel. So that was pretty crazy. But anyway, my point is, Stefan Kung is not a big rider in terms of name. He's a big physically rider. He's not a big rider. If you go too far, like Moscon, well, he had to for Trentin. If you go too far, like MVDP, who laid it on the line too early, then you get spat out the back, you bonk, you don't finish. Versus bronze medal for Stefan Kung. I don't know his contractual situation. That could be the difference between, this could be the difference between his career really accelerating. Now, it probably will anyway, because if he has the legs to come third in the world champs, then he's probably going to be a great rider. But, this could be him getting a contract extension, more money. And yes, he'd obviously get way more money if he won the world championships. So maybe what he did wasn't the optimal strategy to win the world championships. But if you're a rider earning €50,000 a year and your contract's up at the end of the year, then would you rather have pretty much an 80 to 90% chance, if you just stay in the group, of getting bronze, and then you get an extension pretty much guaranteed? You will get a contract extension if you come bronze, for 125, 150,000 euro a year. I'm making it up, but you will definitely get an extension, more money, versus you get dropped. Maybe you don't get a contract extension. You don't finish. No one really cares. And then, but yeah, you've missed out on the opportunity to maybe get a 400,000 euro contract. So that's just the economics of it. That's how I think he would be thinking about it. Maybe he's not actually thinking about it that way, but that influences his decision making. So I agree. okay, I don't actually know how much they earn, but you get what I mean. That's why he did what he did, and that's why I would have done exactly what he did. Kung is 25. He's not. All right, last minute rapid fire. Kung should have been disqualified. Usually, I agree, Matlock. Did everyone see Julian Alaphilippe drafting? Pretty bad, brother. Why didn't he get dropped? Why didn't he get disqualified? Alaphilippe. All right, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate everyone joining. I'll leave this live chat up. This was cool. I've got to go to work now. I've got to iron my shirt and put in a hard shift at the office. But thanks for joining in. Really appreciate it, actually. Sorry that I couldn't start the actual other one and had to start this one. But let me know if you like this live stream. I think this was an easier, because this is only 40 minutes of my time, and I can just come in and talk to you guys without having to edit anything. There's no copyright issues. So I think this is actually a more efficient way for me to just interact with you guys. But anyway, ciao.